If you go back a few years, the market for electric vehicles was like the cool new kid in town. People thought that these eco-friendly rides would change the way we travel. They said the future would be better, easier to live with, and a lot cooler. But things did not go as planned. And here is a crash. Where? In the EV industry. Yes, you heard that right, and it has hit people hard. Want to know about its impact? Stay with us till the end of the video to find out the real impact of this huge crash. Let's get started. Everyone was on board, and the hope was visible. It was not just fantasy, the technology was making it happen. Electric cars were getting better gas mileage, cheaper, and dare we say it, more stylish. All of the governments were on board, giving people reasons to switch. Startups were getting a lot of money from investors, and even the old-school automakers who had been making gas guzzlers for decades too jumped into the game. It seemed like they were suddenly on a mission to save the world when they started making plans to use only electricity. It seemed like the auto business was going through its renaissance. The interesting thing is that while everyone was daydreaming about a future where electric cars make us feel like we are in a science fiction movie, the real world began to poke us in the shoulder. Let's just say that the road ahead was not as easy as we thought it would be. Let's start by going back to the early 2020s. There was a sense of a new age starting. EVs were no longer just a dream, they were real, and people were excited. Electric cars were being made by big automakers, new companies, and pretty much anyone with a shed and a dream. It looked like nothing could stop the electric revolution. There were sleek sports cars and strange little city cars all over the place. Every country in the world was also on board. They changed rules, gave people money, and made it very appealing for people to trade in their old gas guzzlers for clean ones. We thought we were moving quickly toward a cleaner, quieter future where your favorite podcast would be the only thing louder than your electric car. Investments came in like a never-ending stream of cash. Everyone was eager to get a piece of the EV pie. People who invested thought they were on the next big thing and saw dollar signs in their sleep. Then, as is often the case with brand new things, the honeymoon phase stopped. This is where the story gets weird. When you're driving down the highway, the wind in your hair, and all of a sudden you hit a bump that makes your coffee spill all over the place? That's kind of what happened with the market for electric vehicles. Batteries were the first thing. That's right, those little power packs that make electric cars go vroom. Electric car sales went through the roof faster than anyone thought they would, and the supply chain was having a hard time keeping up. Things started to go wrong when battery output couldn't keep up with the rising demand. Then, there were some technical problems. There were glitches, recalls, and other problems with some of the most popular electric car types. It was like finding out that your brand new smartphone often gets too hot and shuts down at the worst times. This hurt shoppers' confidence. Some people began to think that their old gas-powered cars might not have been so bad after all. A lot of investors who had been betting on the EV market like it was a safe thing changed their minds. They began to pull back, and the money that had been pouring in so quickly began to flow more slowly. Making money wasn't as easy as it looked at first, and the bubble that had been inflated by all the joy started to show signs of stress. The last blow was when the government changed its mind about strategy. Remember all the great tax breaks and other benefits that made going electric so appealing? Well, they started going away when states had to deal with tough economic times. All of a sudden, the EV market did not look like such a safe thing. Bullish to bearish market trends changed faster than you could say zero emissions. And just like that, the EV market, which seemed unbeatable, crashed. It was not just a small fender bender, there were several cars involved. Once invincible companies were now having a hard time staying in business. Thousands of people lost their jobs, factories shut down, and the dream of a quick switch to electric vehicles began to fade like a mirage in the desert. It was not just the EV business that was shaken up by the crash, it was the whole world economy. Supply chains for everything from raw materials to energy all felt the effects. When investors were riding high on the promise of electric cars, all of a sudden, their portfolios looked a lot less shiny. It woke people up and reminded them that cutting-edge new technologies come with risks and that markets can change as quickly as a teen's mood. But things are not all bad. Let's slow down and look at the bright side for a moment. After a crash, you can learn something important. The EV market crash was no different. It was like the universe told me to take my time and think about this. To begin, it showed us how important it is for growth to last. For new products and high consumer demand have sped up the growth of the electric vehicle business. We have seen that kind of growth does not always last. It went too fast and too hard. However, the lesson is that it's okay to go slowly sometimes. The rate at which companies come up with new ideas needs to be in line with what the market can handle. The crash also showed how important it is to make smart decisions. To be honest, a lot of buyers did not do their research because they were too excited. They were excited about the bright future of electric cars and didn't think about all the risks. The main point is that people who invest need to be smarter. Get your facts straight, people. Before you spend your money, make sure you know what you're getting into. You could say that the EV market was like the Wild West before the crash. It was not controlled much and was full of opportunities and risks. The market went down because there were not enough rules. Hence, lawmakers need to do their jobs and make rules that keep things stable and stop people from acting recklessly. A small mistake can cause a lot of trouble. Lastly, the crash showed us how important it is to be strong. The EV market is still going strong despite everything. Businesses are still coming up with new ideas, investors are still putting money into them, and people are still buying. The fact that the market was able to recover shows how strong it is. As the old proverb goes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Even though the EV market has taken a hit, it's still not out for the count. It may look like there are not many clear paths ahead, but remember that the market for electric cars is still very new. As a child learned to walk, they will probably fall a few times, but that's just part of the process. The EV market will not fail in the future. It's more like a bird rising from the ashes. For people who believe in the market, the crash is a chance to look at things again, learn and grow. It's a chance to fix the problems that caused the crash in the first place. There are already plans in the works by businesses to make sure they don't get stuck again. Getting different kinds of things is important. It lowers the risk that they will lose everything if they put all of their eggs in one basket. Also on the rise are partnerships and alliances where businesses share resources and knowledge to stay ahead of the competition. New ideas are still very important. The crash has not stopped people from wanting to test new ideas and break down barriers. It has made research and development even more important. You might as well do it in style if you're going to get back on your feet. And customers are getting more attention. Businesses are paying more attention to what customers want. Not only are they making new cars, but they're also making cars that people will love to drive. The goal is to make a product that is not only good for the environment, but also useful, cheap, and, let's face it, fun to drive. Even though there have been some problems, the market for electric vehicles still has a lot of potential. As people become more aware of their carbon footprint, the market for electric cars will only rise. Sustainable, clean energy options are more important than ever right now, and electric cars are a big part of that. What do you think the future holds for electric vehicles? Share in the comment section below. If you enjoyed watching the video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.